Hey, Dylan.
Hey,
Hey.
how you doing?
I'm better than you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the members of the jury what happened?
I don't have a choice. I don't actually have a choice. So, at the moment, to give the listeners a visual aid, I'm sitting here in our recording studio,
Yes.
and one of my feet has a sock on it,
Yeah.
and the other one is wrapped in bandages,
Yeah.
as are my two calves,
Yeah.
both legs. And the thing is it my fault? I don't know. I'll leave that to you to decide after I tell the story. So the other night, I decide, it's like 10:45 at night, I'm feeling a little hungry, so I'm like, hey, second dinner. So how about a bacon sandwich? That sounds great, Dylan. Let's do that. I get out this thick-cut bacon that I bought from the grocery store. Very unlike me.
Yeah.
I was planning on making breakfast sandwiches quite often
Yeah.
as a sort of lifestyle change in 2026. Not relevant to the story. I had about 4 pieces of thick-cut bacon left. I put them in a pot because I didn't have a pan. And
Wait, a pot?
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. This story gets more unhinged the more information I find out about it.
I put the bacon in a pot because I already used the pan earlier that week.
You didn't wash it?
No. I started cooking the bacon. It's coming along really well. Pot fills up with bacon grease. I take the bacon out of the pot, put in a little bagel, set that aside, little bacon sandwich. And then I'm like, all right, I turn off the heat. I pick up the pot of boiling hot bacon grease and some paper towels. I'm going to dispose of it in the trash on the paper towel so it doesn't burn through the bag like it did last time. And I am delivering the pot over to the trash can, and my shirt catches in one of the drawer handles, tips me, and I spill the boiling hot bacon grease on the back of my calves and my left foot, and I say, ow. Ow.
I'm sure that's not all you say.
And I actually, that was all I said. I was
Really?
like, ow.
That's shocking.
Because it stung quite a lot. I take the paper towels, I
bet.
wipe my legs and foot down, and then I think to myself, how long was that bacon grease off the stove before I threw it out? Yeah, it was pretty hot. So I go to the shower, I turn on the cold water, and at this point, I didn't realize how rough the burns were. I held my legs under the cold water in the shower for about 5 minutes.
I'm not supposed to do that.
I leave. No, that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
No, you're not.
You're supposed to put it on cold water.
It makes it feel better, but it damages the nerves.
Well, I didn't know that. And so I didn't know that so much that I did it 3 more consecutive times over the course of the evening before I went to bed. I wrapped my legs in paper towels and clenched it shut with a little piece of tape. And I say, I'm going to look at this in the morning and see how it looks. And in the morning, it looked pretty bad. So I went to the hospital, and they cleaned off my burns. And my legs were pretty fucked up. And now...
Are still currently
Yes,
pretty
they are
fucked
still
up.
currently fucked
That
up.
was only a few days ago.
The most pain comes in the morning. More painful than the burn itself when it happened. When my legs go from horizontal to vertical again, and the blood rushes into my calves and feet. That's when I feel it the most, and it's like getting burned all over again. And then I hobble my way over to get clothed, and I go to work, and I pretend like none of this happened. And if I pretend hard enough, then maybe I can use that feeling and hold on to that feeling, even if it isn't real. And maybe that'll help me get through this. Maybe that will help.
Finn. I'm crying. I have so many questions.
Yeah,
And I know
taking
you don't
questions.
have any answers.
Oh, I'm sure I'll come up with something.
First of all,
Yeah.
what was the thought process behind the pot?
So I didn't have a pan. So all I had was a pot to cook the bacon in. It wasn't microwavable
How tall
bacon.
was this pot?
About
It was like a pot that you cook potatoes in.
yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that big of a
Yeah.
pot. It was like a tiny little pot that you make like warm a sauce in a sauce pot, if you will.
That's almost worse. That's too small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it didn't affect the quality of the sandwich.
Okay. I'm sure you still ate it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Next question. Why the fuck are you disposing hot bacon grease in a plastic garbage bag?
And I thought about pouring it down the sink too.
What the fuck?
Because I saw on the way to the trash can, I was like looking at the sink. Maybe that's what distracted me. And I was like, WCI has been really mistreating me recently. So why don't I just pour this down the drain? But I didn't, because that drain is also one that I use quite often on a daily basis, and I would have to deal with the issues as well. So yeah.
I don't. Why do you not
So,
wait for the bacon grease to cool, though?
but I could do that, but it would be more solidified and gelatinous.
But that's the point, so that it's safe to dispose of.
But if you put paper towels in the trash can,
No!
and then you pour the grease into the paper towels.
No! It's still hot! It's still hot! What do you not understand?
And you don't know the really
about
fucked
temperature?
up thing? You know what the fucked up thing is? I knew that it wouldn't work. Because a few nights beforehand, I had done the same thing with the paper towels, and it burned through the trash can.
Why? Why do you keep doing
trash
it
bag.
then? Why try again?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Next question I've got for you. Moving on to the next one. I am trying to picture how your shirt catching on a drawer ended up with you pouring the pot of boiling hot oil down the back of you. That's impressive. That's impressive. I'm trying to imagine it, and I can't. So can you please walk me through this?
Sure, if you want to re-traumatize me, that's fine.
I do. Maybe it'll help you learn.
I was wearing my really nice blue and white striped dress shirt from LL Bean, which is one of my favorite shirts.
Did you get that one? Did you get it ruined? Did it get on there?
It caught the door, not the door handle, but the drawer handle so hard that it ripped. So to give you an idea of the torque during that moment, spun me like a goddamn baby.
How fast were you going?
And I don't know.
Also a mistake.
Left was right, up was down, and
were
then
you
the
just
grease.
fucking running to dispose of this? Is it a relay race?
It ended with me fully greased, and I've been talking to my brother a little bit about this. He made jokes at my expense, and I was grateful for that because I appreciate the humor. He called me a certified greaser, and I can only imagine the many other words and names that I could be called. Dylan Burn-ger is one. Greasy Burger is another one. Yeah. Greasefoot. There are a lot of different ways that you can go with it. So I've been having fun with that.
Yeah.
So does that answer your questions?
I have more. Why was I mean, I guess that was smart. You didn't have a bandage. You used a paper towel and tape. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I actually don't have any more questions. The rest is just instinctual.
Because I do want to remind both you and the audience that I am the victim here. I am a victim of myself.
You've heard it here first, folks. Dylan is a burn victim.
I am a victim of myself, and I'm also the perpetrator. But I also want at least half of the pity.
Yeah.
In my defense.
Yeah, I gotta say though, they are second degree burns, which is the most painful type of burn.
Yeah, it's quite painful.
And so I cannot imagine that. And it's covering quite a large surface. I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
It's pretty heinous. Mm-hmm. It's pretty bad.
It's rough.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's
once again, I've commented before and I will comment again. I am shocked that you're wearing jeans.
I gotta look cool. The hardest part is just changing the bandages, because taking off the non-stick wraps.
But they stick to.
But they still stick to the blood and viscera, and the mush.
Yeah.
That's probably, and also the fucking price of bandages these days.
Tell them.
God damn. I picked up supplies just for this, like for 2 days from CVS. Cost me fucking $40.
Holy shit.
And that was after a discount.
Oh my.
It would have cost me $60.
Oh wow.
They had me put in my goddamn phone number.
Jeez, what are we coming to as a society?
I don't know.
Can't even get bandages for burns. Bacon burns.
Bacon burns. Janie has been a lot sweeter to me. I think because she knows that I'm about to die.
Oh, could you imagine if it got on her?
Oh, yeah, that would have been way worse.
Oh my gosh.
Fortunately, that didn't
She's
happen.
been through so much already.
Yeah.
You both have.
Mhm.
Dramedy.
Dramedy. But she has been eyeing up my legs like they're little chicken drummers, all cooked up and ready to eat.
She's ready.
Uh-huh.
She's licking her lips.
And I'm glad that I don't sleep with her in the room, because if I did...
Which is also so mean that you don't let her snuggle.
And I understand that. I also feel a small amount of guilt about
should,
that.
as you
I tried having her in my bedroom recently overnight, and she lost her privilege within half an hour.
Well, how? Why?
Because she was pawing at my face.
She doesn't know how to behave. She's not
doesn't.
used to it.
How am I supposed to communicate to her how to behave?
You tell her exactly what to do, and you place her where you want to place her, and you pet her, and you give her love. And that's it.
That would not work. That's unfortunately, she will have to sleep in her nice little bed on her perch in the living room.
Does she sleep there?
Yeah.
Good for her.
How are you doing?
I'm much better than you, like I said.
No burns recently?
No burns recently. My calves are tuckered out for a different reason.
You've been walking around?
I've been running around.
You've been doing cardio.
I've been doing cardio, and it's been a bitch because my dumbass started in January.
Which is like the worst time to start cardio.
Yeah, but that's okay. On days where my legs are just so they're very tight. They hurts to walk on. And it's not even like that's the worst part. It's not even like I'm doing that much. I'm really not.
How long are the runs that you've been doing?
30, 45 minutes.
Pretty decent.
Well, the problem is, that's not a problem, but I run and I walk on my tiptoes.
Okay, I think you're not meant to do that, right?
Well, that's always the way I've walked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have good ankle and calf strength because of that, but it's not used to the quantity in which I'm now doing it. So like going up the stairs and down the stairs has been quite difficult. And if you see me walking slowly at work, that is the reason why.
Gotcha. If you see me walking slowly at work, it's because...
Your calves are fucked for another reason.
Yeah, I think you could beat me in a race at the moment.
Probably, actually.
So, what inspired you to start running?
Well,
what are you running from?
I know. I think about a year ago, I said that I was going to start running. What am I running from? So many things.
Do you keep your inhaler on you?
Yeah, I do.
On like a little bracelet?
I not on a bracelet, but I keep it in David's little like fanny pack thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, or like my little pocket, because otherwise I can't breathe. But it's true. It's true. But yeah, in general, I just want to be able to increase my stamina more. This year, doing shows and stuff was kind of like, it's hard to move and sing already because you have to like control your breath support and your muscles, and like if you jump, your voice shakes, but you can't do that if you're like dancing and singing. You have to control your abdomen and your muscles.
Right.
So that plus getting tuckered out so easily from said dancing was a recipe for no bueno. So I was like, yeah, I want to be better at this, so I'm just going to try to increase my stamina. And besides, like I like to go on hikes and stuff, and if there's a vertical incline, it makes it very difficult for me to go on hikes. So yeah, my goal is to get fit both for the shows that I'm doing and also like to go hiking, because David and I would like to go hiking out west eventually, and I don't want to be tuckered for that.
Yeah, well, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
And is the asthma the biggest obstacle in this particular goal for you?
Yes. Calves were fine, and that's honestly, it was only the asthma, and that's kind of why I kept like pushing myself, because I was like, lungs, suck it up.
Yeah.
Get stronger.
I mean, I've been hit with bronchitis so many times. I'm surprised you're still alive, to be honest.
Honestly, me too. Me too. But no, it's crazy. Like whenever I do get winded and out of breath, Dave was running with David, and it's not really running for him. It's like hardly walking for him. I'm very happy for him. But he asked, is it like, what is giving out first? Is it your heart or your lungs? And I'm like, my heart could go on my heart will go on.
Yeah.
Famously, my heart will go on. These calves, I will push through the pain. I can't fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Like the way I'm trying to describe it is like, if you don't have asthma, I have exercise induced asthma. So any type of like high activity tuckers me out in my lungs out very easily. So the best way I can describe it is like, if you plug your nose and you try to drink through a straw, it's like a very small air hole you're sucking through, but then almost pair that with like a light saran wrap over the end of it. So it's not like tight where you can't get anything in, but like you can get some things in, but you can't get as much in. So it always feels like I'm breathing through a straw essentially, but with the asthma, it like really constricts that. So when I take my puff of inhaler, it kind of like inflates that saran wrap bubble.
That's strange because air is famously small. So you would think that it wouldn't be as much of an issue.
Yeah, well, my alveoli are famously damaged, Dylan.
There's a whole episode title about it, I think.
Yeah, there is. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. But, you know, I'm making a habit of it, though, and it's going really well. And at the very least, if I can, like, for example, yesterday, I wasn't, my calves were also effed, and that's probably why they're still effed today, because I kept pushing it. But like effed. I just like ran in place in my apartment while I watched a show.
Yeah.
I don't have a treadmill, but like still doing it.
Right.
And it's a little easier on my calves because I'm not propelling my entire body forward, you know? So I can still move, just it's hard to propel.
Gotcha. I think that's wonderful. I know fitness is a big thing at the top of many people's lists for New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
The gym that I've been going to, Planet Fitness, is twice the capacity that it was before.
I was going to say, I bet.
It's hard to find machines. It's hard to, I guess, summon up the same goodwill that I have for my fellow man that I used to.
You should start bullying people.
I've been bullying people.
What?
I've been bullying people. I am the lunk that they warn you about. But unfortunately, they took the fucking buttons off the wall, so there are no lunk alarms anymore.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The lunk alarm.
What words are you saying? Lunk?
Yeah, at Planet Fitness, there's a lunk, quote unquote, lunk alarm.
I don't know what that is.
Which is like this big alarm that they have on the wall when somebody drops a weight too hard, or I guess grunts too heavy, or is being a quote unquote lunk. Somebody can a lunk being like a big gym bro meathead.
Oh.
Then you're allowed to hit the button, which sounds a lunk alarm, but I guess that was a little bit too distracting to the people working out because they took away the button.
Oh. So what do you do?
So now I can roam free. I have nobody stopping me.
So you were the lunk.
I don't think I would necessarily constitute as a lunk because...
You're going to stand behind somebody. What do you do?
I tell somebody that I'm going to spot them. I encourage them to do weight that they can't do, and then I tell them I'm going to spot them. And then when they take it off the bench press, I leave.
You show them how it's done?
I leave.
Oh, you leave?
And sometimes even push it down with my hand. And then I look into their eyes and watch the life leave them. And laugh and think about it later. Welcome, folks, to My Existential Crisis.
The podcast where we talk about all the things that make us question our entire sense of self. My name is Madison Epley.
And my name is Dylan Burn-ger.
Yikey, crikey. All right, Dylan, today...
I love sitting like this.
Yeah, you can't see it, but Dylan's trying to cross his leg, and his left leg has a two blisters, one of which is the size of a softball, one of which is the size of a baseball, on his ankle. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to cross his legs. Just picture that.
I'm not going to do it anymore, but it really hurts.
Yep, I bet it does.
What story do you have for us today, Madison?
Today, I have a very tragic tale.
Yay!
Yay! We're back on our bullshit. No, we're not doing that episode. But I'm getting back to more sad stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's very much your brand.
It is my brand. This is the story of Andrea Yates. Are you familiar?
I've heard the name before.
Okay.
A few times. I think this is a relatively recent.
Within the last 20 years.
So not recent
at all.
Gotcha.
So, no. But yeah, this story has been sensationalized by the media, so that's probably how you've heard of it before. It was very similar to like a John Benet Ramsey or Lacey Peterson, like how it's very sensationalized across media. This is very similar to that.
Great.
Before we get,
I mean, it's not great. But.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Love to hear it.
Wonderful.
Before we get started, my sources.
Here we go.
Wikipedia, Time Magazine,
2,
People Magazine,
3,
Houston Chronicle,
4,
New York Times,
5,
CNN,
6,
ABC News,
7,
NBC News,
8,
and a YouTube video from Mama Dr. Jones,
9.
who is my favorite.
Almost 10 this time.
Yeah.
God damn. My last story, I had like 3 sources.
And I'm really proud of you.
Thanks. So, where does this story begin?
On the morning of June 20th, 2001, police arrived at a modest suburban home in Clear Lake, Texas. The house was quiet. There was no sign of a struggle, no blood, no chaos. Andrea Yates was standing inside, calm, composed, and waiting. When the officers arrived, she looked at them and said, plainly, "I killed my children."
Yikes.
5 boys, Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and their youngest daughter, newborn Mary, were found dead laid out on a bed. Each had been drowned one by one in the bathtub. Andrea did not resist arrest. She didn't ask for a lawyer, didn't cry. She believed that she had done the right thing. And the horrifying truth is that this outcome had been predicted repeatedly years before it even happened. So let's dive into who is Andrea Yates before we get into how all of this happened.
Okay.
Andrea Kennedy was born July 2nd, 1964 in Houston, Texas. She was the youngest of 5 children in a working class household. They were Catholic. Teachers would describe her as brilliant, introverted, and extremely conscientious. She graduated high school as valedictorian and went on to become a registered nurse. People who knew Andrea consistently described the same traits. She was very quiet. She was very rule-following, emotionally reserved, intensely self-critical, and all around very type A. She was the kind of person who internalized expectations deeply, and when she failed, or even felt like she had failed, she would blame herself entirely and beat herself up over it.
Okay, I want to make a prediction.
Sure.
I'm going to guess the reason why she killed her kids is because she had an undiagnosed mental disorder that led into a psychotic break.
Don't we need to answer that now? Or wait?
What do you want to do?
You're not wrong, but you're not entirely right.
Okay. I'm just going to put that out there because I think that's probably what happened.
Okay. Andrea did struggle with depression as a teenager, including suicidal ideation. This was treated, but it established an early vulnerability, just in general with her mental health. Different professionals would later note that perfectionism, depression, rigid belief systems was the catalyst combination for Andrea under duress. In 1989, she met Russell Rusty Yates. Rusty Yates was charismatic, very confident, and very outwardly successful. He was a NASA engineer with strong opinions about morality, gender roles, and religion. Early in their relationship, Rusty made his worldview clear. Women should be submissive, secular society was corrupt, and suffering had spiritual value.
Hey.
And all of these things stemmed from the teachings of Michael Warrenecki. We'll get to him later. But basically, Rusty was very devout as a Christian, but he only started getting more extremist in this age, and he introduced it to Andrea. Now, Andrea, who already struggled with self-esteem and really created that structure and affirmation and security for her perfectionism, very much absorbed these beliefs completely. After they got married, Rusty became increasingly drawn to the teachings of Michael Warrenecki, who was a very radical preacher whose views were extreme even by conservative Christian standards. He preached women were morally inferior, mothers bore responsibility for children's salvation. So it wasn't even like as a collective family unit, you're responsible for your children being saved. It was up to the mother to hold that responsibility.
Okay.
And a very heavy responsibility, too, especially if you believe what they believe and being damned to hell for all eternity.
And also if you have that many kids.
Exactly. Disobedience invited damnation. So if she was disobedient, if her kids were disobedient, that would invite damnation. So, I mean, imagine little kids being little kids and disobeying and acting up sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a catalyst for damnation in her mind. And God punished sin through suffering. That was the last thing that they really harped on.
Okay.
And so basically, if you're suffering, you deserve it.
But suffering has value.
Yes, suffering has value. It draws you closer to God because that's how you're being punished for your sins.
I do think that suffering has spiritual value. I would agree with that.
I think it has...
But I don't think not in that way.
No.
Not in the way that they're kind of touting.
I think it has value in terms of... It's so hard to say, though, because like I would never wish suffering on anybody.
Right.
And the idea that it builds character is true, but it doesn't make it...
But there are
good.
better ways to build character.
Yes, there are
as
better
well.
ways to build character.
I think suffering can be very enriching to the soul, but I feel like there are other ways refining who you are
Yeah.
that are easier and more beneficial.
And healthier.
And healthier.
Especially if you're seeking out the suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you can't do anything about it, that's awful.
Mhm.
I would never wish it on anybody. And I would never wish anybody to impose suffering on themselves. But one feels like you're being a martyr unnecessarily.
Right.
And that's unhealthy.
I agree.
Michael Warnecki wrote lengthy letters filled with apocalyptic imagery, shame, and spiritual condemnation. Andrea read them obsessively. That was actually how they got their belief system. They didn't go to a physical church. They got their spiritual guidance through these letters and some videos that would be sent to them. But these pamphlets were essentially like law.
Okay. So it's like a religious loot box
Yeah.
that they get like as a
Like a newsletter. Like a weekly, monthly newsletter that they would get, basically breaking apart scripture and interpreting it the way that they interpret it and saying that this is correct.
oh god, that's miserable.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It gets worse.
People do this of their own volition.
They do. One letter warned, "You will be judged for how you raise your children. Their blood will be on your hands." So, like, very fire brimstone, very extreme, very much blaming women and the mothers for the demise and downfall of society. And this was not metaphorical language to Andrea. Just a few months after their wedding, Andrea discovered that she was pregnant for the first time. As per the teachings of their religion, it was God's will to have as many children as they could. Additionally, it was part of their religion that suffering was a necessary part of childbirth. So she had each of her children completely unmedicated,
Jesus.
which Rusty would brag about later.
God
We
damn.
don't actually know if this was something that Andrea wanted or if it was just that she was expected to do it in order to be worthy and seen as good in those eyes. I'm kind of leaning towards the latter.
So we think that she really bought into all this?
I think she definitely bought into all of it. She definitely, like, there's no doubt in my mind that she bought into all of it. For me, it's just a matter of, she was very obviously emotionally and mentally vulnerable just based on her childhood, and she wasn't always like this. So she really was looking for like some, I think because of the perfectionistic tendencies and how hard she was on herself, she was really looking for someone to basically tell her how she should be, and like having those strict rules to abide by was a way that she could reward herself for being strict on herself, because if she was strict, then it's good to be strict, and it's easier in some ways than trying to break that cycle, you know?
Gotcha.
Just to fall deeper into it. After her first child, Andrea experienced postpartum depression, sadness, anxiety, and difficulty bonding with her child. This was concerning, but not yet catastrophic. Her next child came very soon after her first, and after her second child, symptoms worsened. She became withdrawn. She sought therapy, which was a big step for Andrea. She's not one to reach out for help. That's just never been in her nature. So for her to actually seek help from an outside source was a really big step for her. And it was an early sign that she recognized that something was wrong. But in the midst of all of their religious extremism, Rusty and Andrea rejected mainstream life. So for years, they lived in a converted bus. And the reason I bring this up isn't because it's bad to live in a bus, but with the mental health, I don't want people...
You can live literally anywhere you want.
I do not give a fuck where you live.
Van life, bus life.
You can be a wandering family.
It seems fun to live in your car.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they lived in a trailer first and then a converted bus. And not knocking that if that's your thing. But with someone who already has mental health issues in this regard concerning her children and postpartum depression, it can be a little unnerving to have people in such close quarters. I mean, if you're two people in close quarters, it can really make things feel overwhelming. Right. Not to mention, she homeschooled the children. So she was with the children 24/7. She avoided outside media, and they rarely socialized. So the kids were literally in this trailer all the time. Like, neighbors would report hardly ever seeing them because they weren't allowed to. And that was part of their religious belief, because any outside corruption would be the fault of the mother if they corrupted the child. So they were always attached to the hip of Andrea. Like, if they went out to the mailbox, they went out together. They came back as a group, didn't stop and say hi. There was no friends for the kids. They were their own friends. There were no friends for Andrea, no one that she could talk to, not even a spiritual advisor, because she didn't go to church. It was just the letters that she would write to Michael Warrenecki and his wife, and that was it. So it was very, very isolated. Not to mention that Rusty worked long hours. So not only was this bad for general mental health, even if you are stable, but with her history, it was even worse. And it also created this, what did you say, like a closed loop belief system, like this feedback loop where everything you like put out is just like coming right back to you because they wouldn't get any outside sources.
I don't think I said that, did I?
Didn't you?
I wish I did. That sounds pretty smart. But no, I didn't say that.
I thought you said something about a feedback loop or like a closed feedback loop.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm just going to take credit for that then. I said that.
Actually, I did say that. All right.
And like I mentioned, the teachings were not in a physical church. So they didn't even have like that spiritual community that most people can go to. Rachel Warrenecki, Michael's wife, was the person that Andrea would go to for guidance. She would write her letters, talk on the phone because she didn't have anybody else. And Andrea reached out and said that, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I feel lonely and I want to get out and see people. Like, I'm feeling really restrained. And Rachel told her that her suffering would bring her closer to God.
Okay.
And that was it.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So again, she reached out for help, and that she doesn't really do, to the two people that she trusts the most in the world and is just not really getting anything back. After the third child, everything changed. Andrea suffered her first psychotic break. She called her husband during his workday and said that she needed him to come home and she needed help. And when Rusty arrived, he found her on the floor, trembling in the fetal position, biting the ends of her fingers. Not fingernails, but like self-harming in that way. Her religious leader, Rachel, shamed her for feeling the way that she felt, told her that she was just wicked and that she should lean into the suffering to be closer to God, and that means that, you know, she needs to have it if she is going through something, that she should be going through it if she is. Yeah.
All right.
Additionally, what made things more strenuous is that their religion rejected all forms of medicine. They were very untrustworthy of doctors, rejected any form of additives, so to speak, going into your body. Everything in society that was beyond the family and the teachings of this religion were bad. So if anything could corrupt you or your kids.
This really brings up the question of, you know, it's important to have religious freedom in this country, but there's a line between religious freedom and engaging in behaviors that are just obviously detrimental to yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah.
And how do you make restrictions and set limitations on what people are allowed to do and what they practice when they're obviously harming themselves?
Yeah. And I will say, I do give Rusty credit. Rusty was more open to helping her. That said, he was still very jaded in his belief system. So he did go and seek her help, and he did support her taking medication, despite what the church said.
Okay.
The problem was she felt like she was doing wrong because of what the church said. She felt like she was weak. She felt like she was meant to be going through this and all that stuff, and just would not take her medication.
Gotcha.
After Rusty found her like this, they took the family to Andrea's parents' house to stay, and that evening Andrea overdosed. She took 40 50-milligram pills from her parents' medicine cabinet, and for reference, one 50-milligram pill is the dosage for an average person per day, so she took over a month's worth of prescription pills.
Damn. Do we know what kind of medication?
It was like an antidepressant medication. It's, from what Mama Dr. Jones said, it's hard to overdose on it, but like anything else, you can overdose. It slows your heart rate.
Who the fuck is Mama Dr. Jones?
I'm so glad you asked. I love her to death. She is a YouTuber, and she's
a mama first, doctor second.
Yes.
Right.
She is an OBGYN. She used to live in Texas, but between different opportunities that she was getting and whatnot, she moved to Australia and practices medicine there.
Okay.
But she's a YouTuber, and she teaches about maternal health care and like women health care and all that stuff.
Oh, cool.
She's really incredibly informative, and she should be in every like sex education classroom.
Shout out Mama Dr. Jones.
Mama Dr. Jones, love you to death. But yeah, so her video is very informative for like the technical stuff of it. Her mom tried to wake her up. The baby was crying and she wasn't responding, which was very unusual for her. So her mom tried to wake her up and she wasn't really fully waking. And that's when Andrea said, hey, she took something. So they rushed her to the hospital and she was immediately put into inpatient care. So throughout her stay, she was incredibly listless and lethargic, and because of her religious beliefs, again, she would hide her medication in her cheeks and not take them. There was not much improvement shown over the week that she had stayed in the hospital, but she was sent home under the promise by Rusty that she wouldn't be left alone and that she would be put on watch and that she would be made to take her medication. She did follow up with a therapist after her release, but she wasn't taking her meds regularly, and just about a month after that initial breakdown, Rusty came home from work one day. She wasn't supposed to be left alone, and yet she was. And he came home from work to find her in the bathroom with a knife to her throat, trying to kill herself. At this point, she was having recurring auditory hallucinations to, quote, get the knife, and visual hallucinations of knives and stabbing. So she figured it would be best to use it on herself and her children. Rusty was able to lower the knife from her throat, and she was again taken to a psychiatric intake hospital. They noticed claw marks whenever she was going through intake on her legs, where she said that she was trying to stop herself from harming the children and grabbing the knife by taking it on herself, which is why she ended up putting the knife to herself.
Gotcha.
And during this hospitalization, she was diagnosed with major depressive disorder with psychotic features. During the time period before her intake, she was having remaining thoughts of the children, insomnia, auditory and visual hallucinations, and part of the ruminations that she was having had all to do with the children's salvation. It was really drilled into her head, and she was very obsessive over the idea that she was responsible for their salvation, and if they were straying, then they would all go to hell, and so would she. So in the pamphlets that she was given, it emphasized that this was the case. And Warrenecki said in not so many words that those who lead the child astray should kill themselves. And once children reach 14 years old, it's too late.
All right. What is it? What's the name of this religion again?
I don't know the name of it, but it's like an extremist form of Christianity.
Gotcha. Okay.
It sounds like an extreme form of like the Quiverful religion, which is like the Duggars, where they believe that you should have as many kids as possible and things like that.
Gotcha.
So it's just like another branch like that. On this second psychiatric stay, she expressed disappointment in herself that as a nurse that she should have known better for what medications to take in order to successfully kill herself the first time. So this just goes to show how hard on herself that she was. She was being hard on herself for not killing herself successfully.
God damn.
Yeah. This is how unwell she was. And while in the hospital, still not taking her medication, but there was a shot that she was given. That seemed to be the only thing that really worked. So in terms of the oral medications, we don't know how effective they were because we don't know if she was routinely taking them. But by being given a shot, it was more able to know that it was being administered and know that it was working.
Gotcha.
So that was the only thing that did work. And she was stabilized and pretty much back to normal after she was taking that medication. Rusty even said, like, she went from catatonic to sitting up with me and having the best conversation we'd ever have in our lives, you know?
Yeah.
It was great. So she was released. She did sign up for therapy after her stay. Rusty brought her home, presuming that the tight living quarters and the bus was helping to contribute to her feeling overwhelmed. So they bought a house.
Wow. What a good step forward.
Yeah. Good step forward.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't come to that revelation a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you'd think. And there's more. During the group therapy that she would do...
At the same time, though, I do want to say you can't drive a house. So that is a disadvantage of owning a house over a bus.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Unrelated.
During her group therapy, she did express remorse over trying to take her own life. She kind of like snapped back into it, so to speak. But she still insisted that she didn't like to take her meds and would not take her meds because they made her feel weak. And in these sessions, she said that Rusty allowed her to have a few hours to herself. Again, really nice of him, really generous. But the therapist encouraged her to expand those hours. And at these group therapy sessions, this is where it was brought up that her and Rusty were planning to have more children. And this immediately threw up red flags for the doctors. They were very explicit. Medical records stated that Andrea should not have more children. She was very at high risk of relapse, and that her other symptoms would likely worsen with future pregnancies.
Yeah. Mama doctor would never condone this.
Mama doctor would never. No. One psychiatrist later testified that Andrea would, quote, almost certainly experience further psychotic episodes if she became pregnant again. Rusty was present for these conversations, but they had more children anyway. Now, a couple things here. In terms of her official diagnosis, and we'll dig into this later, but because she was not pregnant at the time, she was not diagnosed with postpartum depression or psychosis. Postpartum depression and psychosis is, from my understanding, only diagnosed or diagnosable if it falls within a certain range before or after a pregnancy.
Okay.
It usually does stem from an underlying type of psychotic disorder, though, whether that's schizophrenia or depression, but usually there has to be like an extreme form of that. So the fact that she has that foundation of having major depressive disorder with psychosis is pretty much a recipe for disaster in terms of postpartum psychosis.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes. So they decided to have more children anyway. Interviews after the fact, Rusty said that after their third child and these depressive episodes happened, that he would rather his family go through these mental health struggles than not have their son. And with that same mindset, they continued onward. And he also said that his understanding was that, hey, this medicine worked for Andrea. Great, we can have more kids and then just like give her this medication afterwards and she'll be fine.
What an awful husband.
Not great. Not great. Another fact about postpartum psychosis, you're 50% more likely to have it recur if you are already showing signs of it appearing once, which she was with her third child. And postpartum psychosis in and of itself is incredibly rare, but in the very few instances where it happens, 10% of these women are successful in killing themselves, and 4% are successful in infanticide. So those are really staggering numbers for any type of illness. And it's not taken nearly as seriously as it should be. So during time in between pregnancies after her second hospital stay, she had actually continued taking her medication and she was doing fairly well. She was seeing a therapist. Everyone reported that she was doing better. They were seeing more of her. She was in high spirits, all this and that. And that is until she got pregnant with her fourth child and stopped her medication cold turkey. After the birth of her fourth child, Andrea did decently well to keep herself stable. Not great, but was getting by. And after her fifth child, that's when it all came tumbling down and the psychosis returned.
I wonder if she was able to take that same medication while pregnant.
So That's the thing. When it comes to medication like that for your mental health, the reason why it's not recommended to go off cold turkey for any medication is because you have to weigh the pros and cons of it. So it's not that it might not affect the baby if you were pregnant, but the thing is the outcome of that worth the risk? So for example, ideally in a perfect world, you wouldn't be taking any medication if you were pregnant. You wouldn't be taking depressive medication or anti-anxiety medication or anything. But if you talk with your doctor and it's determined that you're going to be better mentally and you're going to be better physically if you continue to take this medication, then that's what is most likely advised. You can also switch medication up and try different things, but none of that was discussed with a doctor. So it's likely that she could have continued this medication. Might not, like, I'm not saying it's ideal, but it shouldn't have had the risks of taking that medication during pregnancy. Most likely would have outweighed not.
Right, and I'm sure no doctor would advise somebody go off medication completely
Absolutely
without
not.
tapering down.
Absolutely not. Yeah, which if you ever taper down off medication, fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Awful. So yes, her psychosis returned. She was initially doing okay to cope, but after her father passed away, that became the emotional trigger for everything to just unravel again. She stopped eating. She stopped sleeping, not because of the child. She became catatonic. She believed that Satan was inside of her, believed her children were evil. She believed that she had ruined them spiritually. Andrea told doctors that she heard voices. She believed cartoons were corrupting her children's souls and that they were talking to her, and that she just had this really huge weight on herself that she was failing God on a daily basis. So she was hospitalized again. This is her third time, I believe, at the Devereaux, Texas Treatment Network. And during this time, she refused IV fluids to the point of organ failure, incredibly suspicious of the medical staff, thinking that they were trying to harm her or her children through her. She was also obsessively concerned, more than a new mother would be, over her youngest, her newborn, Mary, over her well-being. She was concerned about her every movement, every whereabout, making sure that nobody would come near her, was very, very overly protective of her. And she was discharged, again, with medication and strict supervision instructions. During this stay, the care treatment had come into question during the trial, because she had no signs of improvement during this stay. And she was still incredibly focused on harming herself whenever she had left. The problem was her insurance is actually the reason why she was kicked out, because they wouldn't allow her to stay any longer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So even
still relevant today.
Still relevant. So even if they gave bad treatment or whatever, you know, she didn't show signs of improvement during the first one either. I would hesitate to say that that's all the fault of a care facility, but if you only have a week to work with somebody, it's kind of difficult to make substantial progress, you know? At one point during her stay, she said that I'm a bad mother, I deserve to die. And one thing to note in general with postpartum psychosis is that it does often include religious delusions, and Andrea's belief system gave those delusions structure. She really truly believed that they were going to go to hell because of her failures. She was going to go to hell. And in her mind, to kill them young would save their souls. They would still have it, like basically save the innocent. They're innocent enough, they'll still, you know, make it into heaven. Mental health experts note that in postpartum psychosis, mothers may feel divinely compelled to act. And one psychiatrist testified on trial that she believed that she was carrying out God's will. Everything was validating her between her own thoughts, her hallucinations that she was having, her religion that she deeply followed, her insurance failed her, all of these different things in the system were failing her. And despite the questionable treatment, the doctors did warn in writing at this last day that, quote, Andrea Yates should never be left alone with her children.
All right, so there were warning signs. Lots of warning
left
signs.
And right. June 20th, 2001. At home, she was not doing well. During the timeline of being discharged from this last hospital, there were accounts of her 7-year-old son on the phone with his grandmother saying that his mom was filling up the tub in the middle of the day. And his grandmother was like, why is she filling up the tub in the middle of the day? It's not bath time yet. That's weird. And Andrea said, in case I need it. Is right.
Follow-up question. What does that mean?
Yep. That question was never asked, apparently. She reported, Andrea, that she heard the cartoon characters speaking to her children through the screen, and that when watching Brother, Where Art Thou?, a satanic character came on the screen, told her that she was marked, and there were growling noises coming from the walls of her homes, and more visualizations of knives and stabbing. Before being discharged, they did have a safety plan in place for Andrea. She was never to be left home. She was never to be left home alone with the children, and Rusty and her mom would take turns being there with her and the kids. And although the plan was to never leave her home alone, Rusty left for work on June 20th, 2001, before Andrea's mother had arrived for her shift. His reasoning, honestly, listen, I am sure. He said that her mother was on the way. She was coming. He had to go for work. It was a very short period of time that she'd be left alone with the kids. So in his mind, he's like, it's just 20 minutes, It's okay.
Bad husband.
Later, Andrea would say that she waited for him to leave because I knew that he would stop me. In that very short time after Rusty had left for work and before her mom arrived, Andrea filled up the tub with water to drown her children. She drowned each child individually, laid their bodies out carefully, called Rusty and told him to come home immediately, and then called 911 very calmly to tell the police that they needed to come. When they arrived, like I mentioned earlier, she just said, I killed my children. She didn't resist. She didn't try to hide what happened or how it happened. She was immediately arrested, and she just told investigators that she had saved her children from eternal damnation.
What a grim fucking story.
Yeah. The trial was in 2002, and the media really attacked her and didn't highlight any of the systemic failures of what was going on. Uh-huh. The prosecutor was very adamant that she knew exactly what she was doing and this was premeditated. But the defense was countering that this is very classic psychosis. This is exactly what people do and exactly why she was warned against all of these different things. The nail in the coffin came from whenever the defense said that the reason that Andrea committed these crimes was because that she saw an episode of Law and Order depicting the same exact murder and that she replicated it. And that actually became like the nail in the coffin for her, shockingly enough. The problem was that episode didn't exist.
I was about to ask, because I've never really watched that show. Just a Robin Williams episode, which was great. But there was no episode. How was that even brought up in court?
That was just the claim that the prosecutor made.
What a weird claim.
It was a weird claim.
You would think that if you have a claim, you need to back it up with evidence in a court of law.
Yep. But that was what the jury fixated on, and that's what gave her that conviction. Now, 4 years after this conviction, let me rewind. After she was convicted, she really wanted the death penalty. She wanted to die. She advocated for the death penalty. She actually wanted to plead guilty and not try to have the insanity defense, but her lawyers pushed for it. Her family advocated for her to not get the death penalty either. They forgave her. They understood what she was going through, and while it's a tragedy, they still cared about her. So the judge agreed, and he just sentenced her to life in prison. 4 years later, she had a retrial because it came to light that the prosecutor lied about this Law and Order case, and she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. So she's currently living out the rest of her life in a psychiatric facility. And that's the story of Andrea Yates.
Damn. Was failed by many people and institutions, her husband, insurance companies.
Yeah, general health care.
Yeah.
I mean, that was also the problem, too. This was a time when there were cell phones, but, like, the internet wasn't popularized. There wasn't, like, one network that you could just, like, get patient records from still. So she had been, for each time that she had been in treatment, inpatient care, she had seen completely different doctors at completely different places. They didn't know her history. So the reason why this last place probably didn't work is because they didn't know her medical history. And even though that they claimed that like the medication that she was given in a shot form was helpful, they didn't have those records, or they didn't believe her, or, you know, I don't know. There was a lot of things going on. But had she had a more consistent form of healthcare and or community to support her advocating for health, I think things would have gone a lot differently. But this is just, there were so many things terribly that happened in this story that I can't even like pinpoint on one thing.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. For all intents and purposes, Andrea Yates was very, very lucky and fortunate to be able to go to inpatient care. Her husband had very good insurance and was able to do that for her. Most people don't get inpatient care like that, or can't access mental health care at all. So she did, and I'm not saying that she is, because it didn't work or she didn't take up on it or whatever, that she is at fault or anything, but the fact that even this could happen even with someone who had a lot of opportunity to get help and just isn't taken seriously.
Yeah.
I think what really drew me to this case is the focus on the postpartum psychosis and like healthcare for people who are pregnant in general, because healthcare is already so complicated. Mental health care is already so stigmatized. Then throw in the complications with pregnancy and then mental health care on top of that. And it's just not something that's taken seriously. And I've known a lot of cases similar to this where it's just not taken seriously and people don't know what to look for and people think, oh, it's fine. And it's not. And it's just, I think the other thing with this case is that after the whole postpartum psychosis thing did come out with Andrea Yates, then it gave a bad name to it and people were scared to come forward if they were feeling certain feelings. And it kind of like, because of the bad press and because of how this ended up, people were almost ashamed to come forward with it if they were experiencing symptoms, which then just perpetuates the cycle. And it's just, it's terrible. And this is a very rare case, a very rare instance of it, because it's a rare thing to happen in general. And I think the real disservice is having the media blow it out of proportion and sensationalize it in a way that really takes away from the core issues at hand, and like calling her a baby killer and all these different things. Like that's not helpful. You didn't mention the religious extremism. You didn't mention the mental health issues. You didn't mention any of this. You made it seem like she just cracked, or it came out of nowhere, or she was evil, or anyone with postpartum psychosis is going to do this, or postpartum depression or mental health issues in general is going to do this. And that's just not the case.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every worst possible thing that could have happened consecutively and just led to this horrible crime. Wow.
Any thoughts?
Just that one.
Just
Damn. Madison, you bring some fucked up stuff.
Yeah, but it makes you think.
Yeah, it does.
Which is good.
It does. It's one of those situations, and you see hundreds of them, where it's just a mix of religious delusion with mental health issues leading to some kind of crime.
Yeah. And I don't want it all for it to sound like that I am justifying her actions.
No, but you don't have to justify her actions to say that, she can't be held fully accountable for everything that happened to her that caused her to do those things.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Sorry, it's sad. Sorry, it's sad. I hope you like what you hear. If you do, give us a like and subscribe. I haven't said that in a while.
Yeah, like and subscribe. And if you want to donate to my Kickstarter to fund my recovery, that would be appreciated too.
Please don't do that.
Bandages are fucking expensive. God damn.
Maybe next time you won't dump boiling hot grease in a garbage bag.
No, I certainly will.
I know you will. I know you will. That's the worst part of it all.
I'm looking forward to it.
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Emmy Crisis Pod. You can send us an email at myexistentialcrisispodcast@gmail.com. Dylan, where can they find you?
Marble Folk on Instagram.
And you can find me at my first and last name.
All right. Bye.
Bye.